Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. All praise due to the Lord of the worlds. Rabbi Firli. May God forgive us for the sins we know and the sins we don't know. All right. All right. So, hello everyone. I have maybe around like 15 minutes. And I just wanted to talk about a interesting idea, open it up for discussion, and have, I guess, people of this channel to expand upon it. All right, so when armies of geniuses will roam the earth, first thing I gotta say is that by being Muslim, by being religious, by being a human being that acknowledges that we're inside an existential system and there is a system admin here that is not bound by the forms inside the system, and also as someone acknowledging that reality is a testing zone, I wonder about what sort of test, how human beings will be tested, how users in the system, players in this game are going to be tested, and also what will happen to the game itself. And by being Muslim, I have an answer to the second question, that everything we see within this system, including anything of ours and of others, this world will return to the system admin. So strangely, we have a sort of answer for the far future, but we don't have an answer in the short future. And that's something fascinating about the system. Just 1 second. Okay. And bear with my voice, I guess. Oh, heart of Amin Jabir Ansari, what do you beat for? Every day I wake up, I acknowledge reality as a value proposition. And since I have been introduced to the idea of strategy and also tactics, they say tactics is winning, strategy is winning the war, and tactics is about winning each battle. And so every day, if we were to consider what is our strategy for the day and what are our tactics, well, in strategy, it's important to see what resources you have available. and then make use of those resources in the smartest way, in the most efficient way possible. But that efficiency in one's effort of strategic leadership is based on their goal, their outcome. But there we have a challenge, because the value, it's like we wake up every day with having a value, right? And then a value system, and then in accordance to what we consider and what we do, the value system shifts. And so today, of course, I have my whole day about me. But I thought for some reason today that there's this idea, this image arose that the intelligence, if we took it into like in a strange units, if we created a unit called momenta, which means a moment of being is being calculated, okay? And we took chunks of moments of being, we would see, for example, what quality of intelligence is there in like a basic moment of being. Imagine somebody walking in a mall, right? Or somebody walking in the street, you know, and waiting at a bus stop. Like what sort of intelligence do we see in the moments that are being where we are and also where we are not? For me, the intelligence is based on the goal, and my religious heart tells me that the goal is to get close to the system admin ultimately, right? But when it comes to my mind looks at human activity, and I ask myself, what sort of activities will this human being in some sense do? And the activities can be, you can categorize them into two: external activities and then internal activities. Internal activities is like you don't need to necessarily move. By just observing, you can shift the context to the moment. But external activities are you moving and shifting the context to the moment. So to start off with the imagery, first of all, what is a genius? And then the next question is, what would an army of geniuses be like? And the next question would be, if everybody was a genius, would there still be genius? And we find that genius tends to be where there is an awareness, a deeper awareness to reality. That means the smartest people I have seen on this planet and consider are people who did not per se just have knowledge. They had an understanding of how deeply an event in life took place. You see, when it comes to learning about something, you know, you can either learn it about the surface of it, or you can learn about the depths of it, okay? Usually in school, you see they're teaching the surface, but the depths of reality brings your mind to a position where you're considering all the contexts and how they integrate. So right now, human intelligence is sequential. We do something, result happens. Based on that result, we do something else. And also has to do with action. So imagine somebody has to cook a meal, okay? So they have to go physically to the store, buy the stuff, bring it home, clean it up, cook it, right? This it's like a sequence of activities. Now, let us constantly take an example of a person who has to do this, like has to make food. And now let us think about the different people with like varying levels of intelligence going about it. Basic level, one by one goes and does everything. Let's now consider what would a smarter person do. A smarter person perhaps may live the moment in their mind. That means they might be still sitting on a couch, but then they close their eyes for a moment if they need to, and they just try to visualize, okay, I've walked to the refrigerator. I've seen what I have and I don't have. Okay, and then based on that, the person's like living through the moment without going through the action. You're living through it in your mind. You're living ahead of the moment. Okay, and as you live ahead of the moment, your mind can give you reality, right? And then it also brings forth new angles, and those new angles give you new information. So what I'm trying to say is, as the person gets smarter, it seems the situations, like your brain gives you a model and then you follow through with the model. Let's say you're thirsty, brain gives you a picture of, all right, glass of water. You go get the glass from the cupboard and you drink it, right? Now, the person in their mind, they could sit on the couch, and there could be even a downside to too much analysis. They could think like, okay, I went to the fridge, I went to the cupboard, I got a glass, and then I put the glass on the table. The person hasn't done this yet. It's all in their mind. And then they're like, okay, I poured water from the tap. All right, I drank it. Now, another variation comes in their mind. They're like, okay, let's say I picked up the glass, right? But the way I picked it up, it's going to fall from my hand. Do you know? Or what I'm trying to tell you is that, to me, the sign of superior intelligence is, one, not being convinced, and two, having to see it themselves, not having to experience it themselves. Okay? And also there's this general view on what genius is, and genius is creating bridges between fields that have nothing to do with one another. If you ask a scientist who the smartest person ever was, who's lived ever was, they're not going to tell you Einstein. They're going to tell you Isaac Newton. Why? Because for what he had access to, but what he understood from it, was at a level that was beyond like human simplicity. It's the same complexity as like when you see the pyramids of Egypt and you're like, okay, how the hell was this built? The stones were brought from like a kilometer away, right? So it's in some sense, believe it or not, people, to notice genius is to notice how the impossible has been done. You know, when I say armies of geniuses, pretty much I had this image in my mind where I'm like, obviously people are going to get smarter. Doesn't mean they're going to get wiser, but it means they're going to get smarter. Because right now, human intelligence is based on information processing. We're information processors. Right? Now the question comes, what if 8 billion people, whether you put chips in their mind or you created some sort of next level intelligence beverage or whatever, pretty much external motion may reduce and internal living and processing is going to speed up, which means that right now our outer lives might be a little, for some people, faster than their inner lives. But when the inner lives become faster than the outer life, it will reach a point where we will be more grounded as minds than as bodies. So you might not believe this, you might not even consider this, okay? But you are not just living as a physical being. You're living as an awareness to physicality. Now the question is, how deep does this awareness go? And what is the mighty position or view on intelligence? Imagine you woke up and you could sit somewhere and you had connected to you this android body, and all the physical stuff you had to do, you would just think it and the android body would do. You would reach a point where your days would be taking place more of how you're conducting your inner life than your outer life. An army of geniuses, it could be a huge chance that they're not physically moving. That we physically move because we want to be individual in a location, because there's a sense of realness to it. But if that sense of reality could also be replicated internally, that means it's like, imagine children are born in the far future and their bodies are in pods with like some sort of nutritious liquid, you know. In my sci-fi I called it immortal pods. And pretty much their body from their beginning of their life to the end of their life is in a pod. And what do you call it? Excuse me. Pretty much their mind is living a life in a world, but their body doesn't need to live that life in the world. So that way their lifespan extends to, let's say, like 200 years biologically without a single scratch or anything, right? But the person actually experiences the scratches and different bodies in their mind, whether in a cyberspace server or not, okay? Anyways, what I'm trying to tell you is the faster our mind moves, the less our body needs to. And if the intelligence of humanity functions at a more exciting speed and state than the outer life, then it's gonna be hilarious. It's gonna be like, just like how you outgrow clothing when you're young and you grow up, it's gonna be that there's a huge chance the human species may outlive the speed of its life in the outside world. You see, the system admin was so majestic, so incredible in its design, in its creation, that it created one world that could mean many different worlds to the same species. So there will come a time where there will be super smart people. And I don't know what the average is. I think the average IQ is 120 something. There will come a time where human beings will become so smart that they will realize the reason they have become so smart is because their attention has been heightened and has become way more precise to what reality is. You know, that means who is more smarter, in your opinion? Someone whose attention is higher, or someone who has just memorized models to reality? It's attention, folks. Your decisions are suggesting your value suggests your intelligence, your decisions are dependent on your attention to your environment. So those with the greatest attention end up becoming the leaders of mankind. It's not their choice even, it's just because they're noticing something more. And when you notice problems that affect more than yourself, you become actually responsible. So many people are wondering why they don't have honor. Do you know why? Because they're not living for something that contributes to more than themselves. You know, it is not honorable to get yourself a coffee, but it is honorable to get a homeless person a coffee. So we know that if you are right now one of the smartest people on the planet, you will also be led to having bigger responsibilities than the average man. And I hope that whoever you are that will listen to this, that you understand when I say it's about living for the greatest outcome. That means if you had a choice and you could 100% solve, let's say, two problems. One problem was a problem only you had. One problem was a problem your species had. Just, I don't know, by the way we're designed, by our fragile egos wanting to leave behind a legacy before they die, something makes us feel like, yo man, if I can do something bigger, then I will aim for something bigger. Do you see? And so I ask you, whoever you are, how big is what you're aiming for? Because that suggests your intelligence. Somebody may be like, Mr. Within, are you saying like a religious person on a secluded retreat is not smart? Depends on how big their goal is. If their goal is to discover the secret of the true nature of reality, then they are one of the smartest people ever. But if their goal is like, yo man, I just want to, you know, I don't. It's like if it's out of wanting to not be burdened by the world, then there's a fine line between weakness and intelligence. You are a member of a species. And if I was to even get way more metaphysical and deep, you are a vicegerent of the system admin. That means you're no ordinary being. You are neither a beast and you're neither an angel. You are somewhere in between, a user in an existential system, which in some sense has system admin privileges. This is me being able to speak and you understand is that. So anyways, guys, I gotta head out, but I wanted to thank you for listening. I just want to say I also write sci-fi, and in my visions of the future, when human intelligence goes beyond a certain processing capability, like that means it becomes too fast. It's going to make external life be meaningless. So external technologies, as much as we think in the future we're going to be wielding giant robots, it could be that we might be only doing that in cyberspace. It might be that to live in a simulation inside a simulation keeps how you're in the first simulation more preserved. Do you know what that means? That means, imagine there was this religious boy, and this religious boy was like, man, why so much sins? How do I reduce the sins of my species? And imagine the answer was to prevent them from sinning or shift the intensity of their sin. And imagine there was a person who took 8 billion people inside cyberspace, inside a cyberspace simulation, And in doing so, put human beings in a situation where their sins would have a virtual value. That means if you, excuse me, but this is an intense example, but we gotta care about the extremes of to understand the system properly. So let's say the people were killing each other and somebody was like, I'm gonna take all these people killing each other and they're gonna be able to kill each other in so many different and even more able ways, you know, in however way their savageness desires, right? But it's not gonna be external, which means that if me and you right now and anybody listening, we were born inside a cyber. Imagine right now this is a video game. It's as if after the video game, we get off from the computer screen and we're like, I didn't kill anybody. I killed the cyberspace avatar of this other multiplayer online game user. Do you see what I mean? That means it's the outcome of death that is death. Because we don't consider video games a crime. So this is where I'm telling you that the mind may choose, like as a survival strategy, be like, whoa, man, I rather live longer if that's the objective. But, you know, and live freer if that's the objective. Guys, honestly, to live long and free means you're gonna end up in a simulation. If that's your desire as a human being, you're gonna end up becoming a cyber entity. You know what that means? That means your mind is live streaming its life online, and your body offline is just being preserved. The question is, will humanity get to a level of intelligence where it will not need its body anymore? People think this is an important question, but this is a super important question. And I'm asking it in 2025, which I think is an appropriate time. It's not too late yet. Anyways, guys, thank you for listening. All praise to the Lord of the worlds, really. That means whatever thought we have, there's a system admin here beyond us. There is legit a higher power here. Higher means its power is beyond the abilities of your form. Establish a relationship with the higher power. You can use an ancient method, or you can just experientially come to it. For me, I noticed beyond the veil, and then I noticed the higher power. Anyways, guys, thank you for listening. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. All praise due to the Lord of the worlds. Rabbi Gfirli. May God forgive us for the mistakes we know and the mistakes we don't know that we make. Honestly, thank you for listening. This world is fascinating. The system admin is even more fascinating. There is way more bigger stuff happening here than ourselves, and if we pay attention to it, perhaps we have taken the first step towards true genius. Thank you. Take care.